Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We're the good staff. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this. Elite shithousery. So, good evening. We are here to talk about some stuff that we don't really want to talk about, and then some stuff that we do want to talk about. I am joined by my able assistants tonight, Karl and Luke. Karl, how are you doing?
I'm all right, yeah. Technical problems, but sure, hey.
Nothing new there. Is this on your new laptop as well?
Yeah, I can't seem to get the second monitor working, so yeah,
Wonderful.
the joys.
Wonderful.
Yeah, fun times.
Okay, thank you very much.
Back to it.
Luke, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you ever so much. Yeah, not bad at all. Just busy, mate. Really busy, and yeah, just trying to keep up with life.
I hear on the grapevine there's the potential that you're going to be a little bit busier. Have you got something a little bit exciting to tell us?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell anyone or what. I don't know what the crack is. Surely I am.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's all been announced now, hasn't it? So
yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, fingers crossed. I've been invited down to Sky Sports Studio a week tomorrow to do some filming with Sky Sports on the back of our Finalysis stuff that Gilly and I are both involved with. So yeah, really excited about that. So keep an eye out on Sky Sports. I'll be on a couple of the shows. One called it's the general one, the fan club.
Not the fan club. Fan club.
So I don't know if they're live. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, fan club. I'll be there in the morning, and then the Premier League show later on in the evening as well. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. Going down to. Well, I'm not really looking forward to go to the big smoke because it's an absolute shithole, isn't it? But I'm looking forward to doing that, mate. It's going to be a bit of an eye opener and certainly exciting.
It'll be a good experience. Absolutely.
Don't fuck it up.
That's my biggest worry. That's my biggest worry. It's saying something I would probably say to you guys, but actually live on Sky and
nonsense
forever and ever.
yeah, offering the PE teacher out for a fight or something like
that. Yeah.
No, I'm excited, man. I'm sure I'll be able to turn it down. I managed to do it at work 300 days a year or whatever it is. So.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure people know exactly what you're like anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, you'll be sound. You'll be absolutely sound. No problem. No. Yeah. I wish you luck, and I wish you luck, real luck on principle that I want you to do well, and me wishing you will do well is that when I get a turn, then the universe should then make it so that I do well because I wished you well at this point as well. So
karma.
There you go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Really exciting and well done for that. I'm putting it off, but let's just get into it. Luke, get your excuses early in. Brighton, tell us what happened.
I still haven't watched it. But there is good reason. There's good reason. I am in the process of moving house. So this weekend I got my keys to the new place. So I spent most of Saturday driving around in a van, picking up bits of furniture and household goods and getting them into a new property. So yeah, just simply haven't had time. Sunday I was in Wolverhampton watching some kickboxing as well. So yeah, I've just simply my social calendar's mental, and then to the house move on top of that. It's just honestly, it's a busy time in my little inferior life. But yeah, I've still not watched it. So I've seen a couple of bits of the highlights. Nothing really I want to talk about though.
No. That's probably borne out by us that watched it, Karl. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about?
Stop playing out from the back when we're away from home and teams are pressing us high. That'd be nice. I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. It was like watching Arsenal and Burnley games rolled into one there. But yeah, I echo your sentiments. It was a fairly shit performance. And Yeah, fair play to Georgie for not celebrating, I guess. And, he had some nice things to say afterwards. And that's about the highlights of the game, really, I think, Yeah, it wasn't great.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I'm glad I had beer when I was watching it. That's all I'll say.
Here's the question then. So is it more or less frustrating to play well and lose? Spurs, Fulham, Bournemouth, we did enough in those games to get more than we got. Is it more frustrating to play well and lose and us go, here we are again, we've been the better side, we've come away without any points? Or, do you know what? We go to Brighton and we never get anything. The last time we got at Brighton was at their old ground. Is it just hands up, we don't get anything there, let's just move on?
I don't know. I rather a good performance and potentially lose, because that still builds the confidence that we're good enough. But if we play terrible and lose, that can really have a serious effect on confidence, in my opinion. And I know that Fark could say that that it's not really affected them or whatever, the professionals and this and that. But you've all been in team environments. You'd rather play a team and push them really close, and you might lose, but you can go into the next game full of confidence. You can go in going, look, we're narrowly beaten there. Narrowly. We saw it against when we played Burnley, we were terrible, but the games previous, we were, bar Arsenal, we were very good. We've said it since the start of the season. It's that final bit. It's the final bit that we don't seem to have at the minute. And yeah, I take playing really well and losing, not every week, because it's obviously it's not good for the old staving off relegation. But I'd rather do that than play like an absolute fucking gimp and and come away with less confidence in the players around me and within the team.
Fair, yeah, fair. So I guess we need to be in a position. Thank you very much for those points, Luke. I will out myself there. Getting the title and not monetizing is pretty shocking behaviour, really. But thank you very much for checking. So we were shy. If you look at the momentum graph, I've not uploaded it because it just shows that we were shy. But rather than just looking at this one result, though, there is a marked difference between our home form and our away form. And I'm going to expand on a point that you just made, Karl, and ask Luke the question. We do still play out away from home, but is the difference there that teams will get in our faces and press us much further up the pitch than they do when we're at our place, just because they expect us to be a bit more forthcoming, and therefore if the press is too high, they're going to get caught out? What's there is a difference between our home form and our away form. What's your reading on that?
Yeah, I think obviously we are struggling away from home. There's no denying that. I think, but somebody tweeted the other day, actually, we're not doing as bad as we think in comparison to the rest of the league. Look, we've had some very winnable away fixtures this season already so far. Burnley probably being the cream of them, but we're just not picking up the right amount of points away from home. It's all good and well if you can win a lot of home games and pick up the odd point here and there, but the reality is we're not going to win a lot of home games this season either. So although the form is better, it's a very tough, unforgiving league, and I think we simply have to start performing a little bit better away from home. But I think you're quite right. I think teams at home have got a bit of wind in their sails. That we're nothing to be feared. We're not one of the big fish in this pond, unfortunately, as we were in the Championship last season. Although as fans we think we are, and ultimately if it came down to fan belief and the size of the fan base and everything else, history, whatever, then we are actually still a big club. But actually the realism now that club football is driven by money, and where that's concerned, you consider we sold our most creative player since Rafinha to the club we just played for 40 million, and it was pennies to them. Then, it is very, very difficult to be competitive. So I don't know if that's on Daniel Farke. I don't know if that's on something else, the way we're setting up, maybe. But something has got to give. We've simply got to improve that away form and start picking up points when we least expect them. So otherwise we're going to be in a position after these November, December fixtures where we are chasing our tails, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there are a couple of additional bits that we'll come on to later in the podcast, just around the short-term, medium-term future. But yeah, Karl, just back to the game. Any positives at all? You know, it's a game under Perry's belt. It's another one under Biol's belt. Okafor looked lively. I thought again, it wasn't impactful enough, but looked lively. But you know, we're in that position where there's minutes there. You know, Tanaka's another one that had been out for a spell, and he's got more minutes. Is there anything positive we can take?
No major injuries. I
really scratching around that way.
But this is the thing. We looked devoid of ideas for large portions of the game, and there was elements of there was a 10-minute spell perhaps where it was 2-0 to them, and I was like, all right, look, we're looking okay here now. We might get a goal. If we get a goal in, get a goal back, we could be all right. And then 30 seconds later, after I had that thought, I didn't even say it out loud. I had a fucking thought, and they went and scored in 3-0. No, it's just like I'm just not going to think anymore now.
There's no getting away from it. Luke had the better of all of this deal.
Yeah,
he might have had a lot of work to do moving house, but he gets a new pad out of it, and we had to watch that match. So I think he's come out ahead on.
Yeah. I don't get that 2 hours back. Steve Brown, just to touch on the form and that, we are so poor away from home. We've only scored at Wolves, lost all the other 4 without scoring a goal. Luke, is that concerning to you?
Massively, yeah. I mean, we struggled early on in the season to score home and away. I think it was 4 or 5 fixtures before we actually got an in-play goal, other than a penalty. So yeah, I think it is a concern. The fact that you go away to teams like Burnley, Brighton hadn't gone a game without conceding in about 20 or 21 Premier League fixtures as well. There's got to be some concern from what I understand, and as I say, I haven't seen highlights. I don't know how we set up exactly, but it looked as if we set up with 3 defensive midfielders this week rather than letting somebody actually plough on and move forward a little bit. From what I understand, and something's got to give, and ultimately that book stops with Daniel Farke. I mean, for me, the only fixtures by the sounds of it we haven't been competitive this season was Arsenal and this week, because I think we've been very, very competitive in the others, and potentially probably should have won had we had that killer instinct in other games. I know we got beat 2-0 at Burnley, and it's sort of, I'm almost contradicting myself there, but we were by far the better side against Burnley. There's no denying that, but they won the game 2-0, and that's what the history books are going to say. But the history books are not going to say Leeds were the best team according to data or according to XG and things like that. Nobody's going to care about that. And in every game, I almost think that we've deserved something when we haven't got anything. You know, you look at Bournemouth, you look at Spurs, you look at, I know Gilly's mentioned it already, Fulham earlier as well. That's not on Daniel Farke. That we are creating enough chances. We're just not scoring them. But when we have games like Brighton at the weekend, again, I'm going to have to watch it back when I get the opportunity. But and Arsenal, I mean, it's, you kind of expect it against Arsenal. They're going to go and beat a lot of teams, probably 4 or 5-0 over the course of the season because of the quality they've got and certainly in depth. So, yeah, I think this one has got to. This one does lie with Daniel Farke by the sounds of it. You know, we set up wrong from what I've seen of the highlights. The goals look relatively similar. You concede one like that, you consider changing things. You consider you concede 2 like that, you certainly look at changing things. But to concede 3 very, very similar goals it's beyond excusable. I think at this level, I think if they're doing something that's working for them repetitively, you've got to make a change. You've got to change something. Something has got to give for me. So I think this one in particular, this is the first one where I And I'm gonna admit I haven't seen the full game, but based on the result and based on what I have seen, I think the book has to lie with Daniel Farke, and I hope he learns from that.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, yeah, you'd kind of hope so, because you did see a bit of that when we played Arsenal, and he was quite naive to set up and play the way he did against Arsenal. And you like to think he did learn from that over the course of the next few games, which we saw very good performances and quite a few good results from. It's a learning curve. I know he's third year in the Premier League or whatever, but it's a totally different kind of Premier League to the one that he was up in a few years ago. You know what I mean? It's harder to stay up in at this time than it was last time. So you do hope that he's learning, and we'll see come Forest away, isn't it?
It is frustrating, isn't it? Because if you look at last season, the season before, actually we would really be in the driving seat in terms of staying up, because the teams that were promoted were so abject, but so were Scum, so were Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Wolves. They've all been circling the drain for ages. The reason that everybody is so antsy at those clubs, and you could see, I know Wolves have pulled the trigger now, but manager having a go at fans, and their keeper got out of his car and had a go at some fans as well. That's not a happy club. And just in the one thing that you would say is the reason that there appears to be more stress, I think, this season than previous seasons, is because they know they're in for a long old season, and they don't have the cushion of the bottom three being pretty much chosen before January gets here. Because Sunderland are flying. We're better than the teams below us in the league, and I think Luke's right. Arguably, we should have taken quite a few more points from the games that we've played in. So I think we're in that position where let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of situation. Is we were told by Bielsa, don't be too up after a win, don't be too down after a defeat, and I think that there's an element of that as well. But yeah, the in-game management is something that will be really interesting once we're up against it again, to see if he does learn from that, because I think that's where Farke's going to have to show his mettle and show what he's got about him through the rest of the season, because that's where games are won and lost, isn't it? If he changes things up after that first goal, who knows what happens? But to concede another two in a similar fashion, he's like you've both said, he's just not right. Yeah,
I was listening to the Don't Go to Bed pod there last week, and there was a guy that emailed in. He made an interesting point. So basically, to keep a point per game, you need 1 win, a draw, and 2 losses every 4 games, and that would keep you up. Currently, now we've done that up until this point. We're in game 11, so we've won 1, lost 1. If we can get a win against Forest or a draw against Forest and a win against Villa, or vice versa, a draw against Villa, that's continuing a point per game, which should be enough to generally keep you up. So if we I looked at that and I thought that's a very rational way of thinking, because then you're not going into every game thinking, oh, we need points here, we need points there. If we can pick up the wins and the draws within a 4-game kind of series every time, we have every chance of staying up, So that's a point per game. That's what was kind of the goal at the beginning,
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we need to bear in mind the very tough run of fixtures that's coming up post international break. We've got Forest that have been poor, but they've made changes. So yeah, obviously they've pulled the trigger twice on a manager already this season, which is quite incredible. But that is what it is. So there's a little bit of a basket case thing there, which always will be the case under that owner. But they're going to be hard to beat because Dyche is there now.
Yeah,
they will be hard to beat. Then you look at Villa and you think it's a really strange situation that they find themselves in, because although there was an aspect of PSR where they've had to sell a couple of players in order to be able to balance the books, which, let's be honest, that really stinks. They've been doing really well over the previous 2 seasons. The gaffer's not changed. The playing squad's not changed hugely. So we've got those two fixtures, and I don't want to get into any depth because we will come on to the Forest fixture later in the pod. But just looking at the fixture list after that, we've got Man City away, Chelsea at home, Liverpool at home, and Brentford away. Now we don't get anything in Liverpool. We don't get anything in London. It's London, innit? That's the difference. So in those 4 games, if we've got to find a win and a draw, we're going to be really hard against it. So I think that if you're getting less than 4 points from Forest and Villa, he's going to really be struggling when he comes to the end of when it gets into that Christmas period, because that runs us up to 14th of December, that Brentford game. Yeah. And then Christmas is always manic and we never do well. So if we come off the back of those 4 fixtures without a 3-pointer at some point, he's really going to be hard against it. And then we pour through Christmas, typically as a club. Come January, they're going to be pulling the trigger and looking to bring somebody else in that's got an opportunity to use the transfer window themselves. So it becomes all the more important, I think. I'm not a Fark out. One, I think he's not really had a fair crack still. And as you've said, he's kind of achieving where we need to be achieving to be in that just ahead of that points per game. And 2, who do you bring in? Look at Forest. They've changed twice already because they got the recruitment wrong. So I think
they're down to Dyche.
Yeah. So who do you bring in? He's and I am worried about playing against the Dyche side because he knows how to battle. He knows how to scrap. He'll get them up for it. But that'll be an interesting one. And then the run of fixtures that comes beyond that Villa game is a bit eye-watering in him. But we want it to be at this level, and that's what happens. So rough with the smooth.
Suck it up.
Yeah. Okay. So I digressed a little bit. Unless either of you got anything major that you want to talk about, I'm just going to mention the Rutter piece that you mentioned, and then we'll move on. Anything else that anybody wanted to mention? So I'm going to ask you both how you feel about him. So Karl said that he'd said some nice words after the game. The quote is, "When I saw the fans, it made me happy. I remembered the good times. I wish to see Leeds stay up in the Premier League." Luke, I'll come to you first. How do we feel about Rutter?
I have very little sentiment to him, really. I thought he was a good player for us. He wasn't here long enough. Having said that, Yeboah was one of my favourite players of all time. He wasn't here that long, but so I can sort of understand why people do have this bit of emotion or attachment to him. But he wasn't that great for us. I mean, he was good in a championship side for us. Thank you, I suppose you say, for those comments, but I also think they're a little bit pig-headed, if I'm honest. I think for him to hope for us to stay up when, Brighton aren't a massive club. They're only 4 points ahead of us in the table. You know what I mean? If we'd have beaten them at the weekend, we'd have been above them in the league. He's not at City. He's not at Liverpool. I don't really know what to make of the comments. It's nice for him to say. I suppose he's got to say something like that because he's got to come back to Ellen Road later on in the season. So but then it's his job, and they mean nothing to me really. I thought he was an exciting player, and it sort of stops there really. He was shit at shooting when he was here. He couldn't hit a barn door. Created the odd good bit of magic, but I have relatively fond memories of him in a team that still failed to get promoted.
Yeah.
Very fair. Very fair.
Yeah.
Karl, anything to add to that?
Look, sentiment or what Luke said as well. It was nice what he said. You could see he still has a lot of kind of fond feelings for the club, but at the end of the day, he's wearing a Brighton shirt. He's not wearing a Leeds shirt. So,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
So talking about players that that aren't with our club anymore, but used to be, I'm going to make you feel really old now. It's 25 years since Viduka beat Liverpool.
Oh.
That is just incredible. I mean, it was an incredible match. The fact that that's 25 years ago today is just, that's awful.
Do you remember where you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it with my old man.
I watched
I have no idea where I remember watching it, but I was 13 at the time. in fact, I was 12. No, wait a minute. I'm 39 in November, so I was 13 nearly. Yeah, 13 nearly 14.
I watched it in Jimmy's house with Barry, and as soon as we won, I rang my mate Tosh off Jimmy's phone. He was in work, and I was like, ah! I just lost my shit.
I'm assuming Tosh was a Liverpool fan.
Oh, yeah.
He's done Toshak, actually.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just my mate Tosh.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
big
me
deal.
mate Tosh. It's good. Sure, everyone knows Tosh.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible game, incredible player. Lots of fond memories there, but yeah, it just strikes me as incredible that it was that long ago. Right, I'm going to move us on to what has really solidified itself as one of our favourite points of the week. I'm going to do it slightly earlier this time, but here we go with this.
Hey, has got a shit tick this week, my little spat of fact.
Yo.
We do ask people to go and tag at Shit Takeoff Week on Twitter. And I picked a couple up from there, but just a couple that tickled me when I saw them. To go grab them. So, Luke, I've come to it a little bit earlier, so if we can get a poll up, we get a little bit longer at getting the votes in before we come back right at the end. If you could remind me, please, because I definitely will forget to come back to you. So I'll just spin through them. So the first is Leeds United had tweeted out saying, how good has Sean been since joining LUFC? No Premier League players created more big chances this season. And Jack LUFC 1919 says, Stack and Longstaff, very good proof that chances created stats are a terrible measure of creativity. Somebody said, it must be a great measure of how good our press has been this season. The response, not really. It's just set pieces and simple passes in transition mostly. The response, they both rank highly on key passes as well. Would that count set pieces too? Yes, key passes and chances created is the same thing pretty much. Are we having that? Is that right? Is that somebody's stato wet dream? Are we having?
Well, he's sort of contradicting himself because he's saying that a lot of them are from set pieces. Well, a set piece isn't necessarily a key pass. A key pass is surely in play. A pass is not necessarily a set piece. A set piece is a corner or an indirect free kick that's led to a dead ball. I think
Stack and Longstaff have been really good with set pieces.
And they haven't been that great, have they? We've scored a couple of Statcher's Stone, a great one. But I get what you're saying. But yeah, no, I think he's notorious as this lad for talking utter shite, if I'm honest.
Is he one of them? Strike
I
sexuals? Is he one of them?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah,
I must be blocked. That's why I've not seen him other than off main account. The next one, Leeds Zone posted reunited, and it's a picture of Junior Firpo. Can anybody tell me who that is? Karl, can you recognise who that is?
No idea.
Is that Mr. Bielsa, my granddad, is it?
It is. Brian Johnson has responded to that. For the audio listeners, they're having a little bit of a cuddle and a natter. And Brian Johnson has responded with, all your self-relating and flagellation over this man is simply disturbing. All they tweeted is reunited. I think that was a little bit over the top as a response.
I think some people should just not experience any joy at all and just live miserably for the rest of their lives, because that's what that kind of tweet is. Yeah. Like I saw someone else put up, he only played 20 times for Bielsa. How can he like him that much? And I'm like, you have a coach who's had an impact on your whole kind of playing style, career, everything, And of course you're going to have that kind of emotion towards him. Jesus Christ! Like I like just be happy. I don't get it. Why be
still have other people to be happy? You don't even need to be happy yourself.
You fucking assholes.
Okay, moving us on to the next one is the Leeds Salute had tweeted something that is Nuno on the ER atmosphere. I've managed in some hostile environments before, but this was something else. Nuno said, Ellen Road tonight was the most toxic stadium I've ever seen. The atmosphere crossed the line. It wasn't just passion; it was pure hostility. My players were abused from the warm up to the final whistle. Welcome to Leeds. And Bats has copied it. I think that's a screenshot off Facebook. Which might explain it and said, fuck 'em, we are Leeds. Does anybody other than Bats think that that's a serious quote from Nuno? Anyone at
Oh,
all?
is it not real?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Are you basing that because it's off Facebook?
No, there is no quote other than the Leeds salute on Facebook of him ever having said it.
Oh, really?
There is nothing else. If you go fact check it, you can't find it anywhere else. I'm absolutely overjoyed if somebody can correct me on that one, but I couldn't find it, and 3 or 4 other people in the comments couldn't find it either.
Oh.
And I guarantee you, Luke's trying to prove me wrong while we're on air.
I'm not. I'm too busy doing the poll, mate.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And then Chit Take of the Week, option 4. The Leeds Press tweeted out and said, "Who is Leeds' most underrated player of all time?" And Alistair Robson has responded with Glenn Kamara. Now, I will say he has said of recent years, but the question is, who's Leeds' most underrated player of all time? And his answer is Glenn Kamara. Now, I kind of defended Kamara at times because he was a tidy player. He was nothing more than that. He was very one-dimensional. He was hugely goal-shy, and it was very frustrating in that regard because there were plenty of opportunity for him to get forward when he was on the ball, and he was tidy enough on the ball to do it. But it was almost like he was scared and just needed to get shut of it, like a hot potato. Most underrated player of all time, at Leeds United, Glenn Kamara. I mean, that's a thing. That is a thing.
Like, do people like? I know I talk some absolute codswallop to some people.
You don't.
But
That was so harsh on
like
yourself.
that's like an extreme example of sitting there and thinking about what you're saying and then putting it out on the internet for all to see. And you put Glenn Kamara.
I mean, it's a thing. That one stuck out for me.
Fucking hell, that's a heavy one. That now.
I mean, he's had the time to sit and consider that. And I'm going to ask you straight off the top of your heads, who's the most underrated player of all time at Leeds United?
Who is underrated? I think.
And get in the comments as well, everybody.
That's fuck.
That's a tough one because if we're going nostalgic, then you still talk about these players. So can they really be classed as underrated? Which is maybe why he went in recent years. Because if we start talking, I was going to say David Batty, but I've loved him, and I think he's underrated as a footballer. But he probably wasn't underrated by Leeds fans. Do you know what I mean? He probably didn't play enough for England and whatever else. And but he certainly was underrated as a footballer. I think he was known for his tenacious tackling and he's been a bit dirty and that. But he was actually a tidy footballer as well. So, but the fact that he's probably one of my favourite players at Leeds of all time means he's probably not underrated. You've got players who spent a lot of time injured, unfortunately. You know, you got David Sommer, who could have been really, really good. You've got Michael Bridges, again, who could have been really, really good. Probably underrated because they didn't really hit the heights because of injury. Tough question is that. I like it.
I would say Chris White from the league winning team because the midfield totally eclipsed the entire rest of the team because they were so fucking good. And I think Chris White went I think he went unnoticed because of the midfield in front of him. But I think he was very underrated when he was with us. Like the couple of seasons that he was there, and I thought he was a rock at the back. To be fair, him and John Newsom did quite a good job whenever Newsom came in, even though he didn't start as often as he probably would have liked. But he was still, I liked Chris White. He was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gary Kelly, do you reckon he was quite underrated?
I mean, he played over 500 games for us.
I know he played a lot. I know he played a lot for us, but it was never. People never really talk about him as being one of the best at Leeds. I don't suppose, do they? I know he played a lot for us, and he's well thought of in the fan base.
I don't know. I mean, for me, the one that sticks out, and I think it's more because of just how good he was rather than how he was rated. Because I think if people thought he was all right, was Rod Wallace. He was so good. And people wouldn't speak about him. When you think about the sides that you played in at Leeds, you'd hear a lot of different names before you heard his. So I think maybe I'd look there. But you mentioned John Newsom, and he's another one. But there's comments in the chat about Paul Madeley. I mean, I think he was really rated. because he could play anywhere. And in a day when you only had one sub, it was absolutely invaluable, wasn't he? So I think I think he was rated. It's just that he didn't really have a position he could play anywhere. But then we sing the same about Stewie D, and we all rated him. Yeah, I know, Karl, you wrote him off after 2 seasons because of his age, but we did.
That was Luke Ayling. Don't get it right if you're going to
you ruled them both out.
Oh, did I? Oh, well, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it properly.
At the same time, you said Ayling was 29 and Stewie D was 30, and that was it. You'd written him off. So
just to flip that question, who was the most overrated?
Oh, now that could get contentious, couldn't it? I'd almost like to say that Aussie, because
really?
I hate him.
Yeah,
but he was
surely
brilliant.
It's
because
Rocket
I hate
Jr.
him, not because of his ability.
Rocket Jr. and Thomas Brolin, players that we brought in who were meant to be massive for us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody rated him well. It was only an expectation.
Rutter's not a bad shout for overrated. If you look online, you'd think he'd scored 50 goals in a season for us with some of the people, the way they talk about him. He was here for 2 seasons. He was shite in the Premier League. Didn't really get much
season and a half.
Season and a half, and then in the Championship, he looked good. He looked good, but he still missed a load of chances. And the way people talk about him is like he was like somebody said they prefer him over Rafinha. I seen online the other day.
Someone take that person's phone off them.
Genuine Ballon d'Or competitor.
Yeah,
Rafinha as well.
Should have won.
Some of us another one in that mold, didn't he? Everybody were losing the shit when Somerville were sold, and he's not really torn up trees at West Ham. Ooh. So if we were looking for him to be a real winner as we came into the Premier League, well, maybe it wouldn't have had quite the impact that we were looking for. So yeah, potentially another one there.
I think as fans we're very quick to overrate players though. As soon as we see them have a good game, that is it. They're the next coming. They're going to be worth 80 million quid. We've got another RAF on our hands, and we do it naturally. We saw it with Joffrey. He scored that goal at Norwich, and the rest is history. He's now playing he's doing well by all accounts at Hull. But I think as fans we're always chasing that holy grail of a young player that either comes through the ranks or we pick up quite early and they turn into the next like James Milner or Wayne Rooney or whatever and have a real lengthy career. And people will then say, I said this about him 20 years ago. What they don't say is I said he was going to be the next. I said he was going to be the next Rooney, and then actually, when now he's playing at Hull on loan, he's not. You know what I mean? So, I think it's. Yeah. I think it's. Yeah, like you say, it's open to debate, but. Rocket Jr. and Brolin have to be right up the top there somewhere. Yeah.
They'd probably take first.
Yeah, it depends on how you define it, though, doesn't it? Because they both came with a lot of pomp and ceremony, but actually were both shit for us. So could you say somebody's overrated if Brolin is lauded as not lauded, pilloried for being our worst signing of all time in a world where Jean-Kevin Augustin exists? So that's how could you say he's overrated when everybody hates him? But there was massive expectation on him. He'd done so well in, was it one of the World Cups?
It was the USA.
He won the World Cup, did he?
Yeah, but he'd done really well in the Euros, hadn't he? In 92, and grabbed all of the headlines, and we signed him after.
Who?
Brolin.
No,
I thought you were about
he had the Great World Cup in the USA, and then we signed him after that.
Oh, nobody watched that. We weren't in it.
Well, he had a good World Cup in the USA anyway.
Yeah, no, not Rocky Jr. He didn't have a good Euros.
I was going to say, he's from Brazil. Seth Johnson, what a shout!
I said Seth Johnson earlier on. Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, that's okay, man. I probably didn't say that enough. You only got 1 year on, looking like James O'Brien there.
Some good chats that. So there's a couple of things for us to just cover off before we get on to the upcoming game. One of them is I'm just going to move across to
the polls live, by the way.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. So everybody get involved in that and have your say, and we'll come back to that at the end. I wanted to share a bit of a good news story at this point. It's not often that we're able to just share something that is just overwhelmingly positive, but I'm going to absolutely ruin it. In fact, Karl, can you just pronounce those names for me, please?
Bianca Sorstrand. And
yeah, I think that's probably about right.
Per Gunnar Sorstrand.
Well, that'll do for me. That'll do for me. Thank you very much. I've not lined him up for that either. I'm not giving him advance view of that.
No. I'm pretty impressed with myself. Right,
yeah. But yeah, Bianca has just sent a message out saying, from the very bottom of my heart, I want to thank Leeds United for an absolutely unforgettable Friday evening. The night meant more to me and my husband than words can ever describe. In April, my husband was diagnosed with the most aggressive brain tumour imaginable. Despite everything, he had one dream to experience Elland Road in his lifetime. Together, we fought with all our strength to make this day possible, and last Friday, that dream finally came true. We travelled all the way from Norway, and from the moment we arrived, every single one of you made my husband feel like the happiest man in the world. The joy, the excitement, and the warmth we experienced will stay in our hearts forever. Our hope is to come back again one day, and I will do everything in my power to make sure he can feel this magic once more. Thank you from the bottom of my hearts for giving us memories we will cherish forever. You are truly incredible. Thank you. And I think it's just, it's a terrible position that the family find themselves in, but it's so great when a football club gets it right that way.
Yeah.
Well done, Leeds. And all power. And I hope that they are able to come back in the future and that Per Gunnar makes a full recovery. So, I just wanted to share that because everybody's quick to criticise clubs when they get it wrong. So let's say when they get it right as well.
Yeah, exactly.
On another note, one thing that it almost feels like our club has been dragged kicking and screaming to get right, finally, is the news is that Howard Wilkinson is to be inducted into the National Football Museum Hall of Fame. Howard Wilkinson, OBE, should I say. So there's a news item actually on the Leeds United website, and it says the induction will take place at halftime during the club's Premier League fixture with Chelsea at Elland Road on Wednesday, the 3rd of December. Where Museum CEO Tim Desmond will present the award, recognising Howard's remarkable contribution to English football both on and off the pitch. It then goes on to say, Leeds United are also delighted to announce support for the Wilko 92 campaign to permanently honour Howard Wilkinson with a statue at Elland Road. Finally. Launched earlier this year and having already made a fantastic start to fundraising efforts, the club will now actively work with the Wilko 92 campaign to ensure Howard's legacy is truly remembered. They've actually said, why code 92? Come on, bit of proofreading on the website, please, lads. Then it says, this begins with a tribute lunch for Howard on Friday, the 5th of December at the Hisense Leeds Lounge at Elland Road, featuring a meet and greet with over 20 Leeds United legends, the First Division Championship trophy, a 3-course lunch and auction, with all proceeds donated to the Howard Wilkinson statue. So, at least we're doing something for him finally.
Yeah, well, it took people from outside the club to get the bleeding statue thing going for them to just kind of go, well, we better piggyback on this now because he's been inducted into the Hall of fucking Fame.
Yes.
Wouldn't they have done anything if the boys hadn't started that already? I suppose you give credit where it's due.
I like how they've piggybacked onto the back of it, but actually said, you know what, we're not fucking paying for it. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we'll help fundraise for it.
Steady on, lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't take the piss. We've January to come up yet.
So yes, you are absolutely right. Well spotted. I mean that is exactly as it is. I mean, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's absolutely horrendous that we've not recognised it sooner. I think it's poor from all owners thus far. Since pretty much since then, I think it should have been done. I think it should have been done years ago. Probably when we needed it most. Maybe when we got relegated to the Championship, back down to the First Division or equivalent. It probably should have been recognised then for me, even if not earlier. Yeah. I know we had a lot on over the last few years and whatnot, but there's absolutely no excuse to recognise somebody who did so much for the club.
Absolutely.
They need to make a manager's square or something like that, like they have with Billy. They need to Wilko and Reevy and have them in their own special spot together,
Well, they're all named after players and managers anyway, aren't they? The different areas of the squares.
No, I know. Yeah, no. What I mean is like just have the two of them together rather than scattered in different parts of the ground or whatever. Like,
Here's a question, and it relates to actually back to one of the shit takes of the week. Do you think Bielsa should be named equivalently? Not necessarily because of because that's been done again. Farke's done the same thing. He's got promoted back, but after the 16 years, after so long, not necessarily just what he did for the club, but for the city, he just brought the love of football back to the city, and I don't think that'll ever be recreated the way he did it, because we're sort of riding that crest of the wave still, if you like. I know we've been up and down, but we are still riding off the back of that, because if he'd not done that, there's every chance we'd still be a championship club right now, you know. Or
and
worse,
in context of the time as well, you know, that how much did it mean? I mean, not everybody, every football fan would feel the same way because it were Leeds doing well, but we became everybody's second team. But whether that's a nasty taste in our mouth or not is a different matter. But for me, Leeds doing well was one of the things that made COVID a bit easier. You know, the lockdowns. I know we couldn't go to matches, we couldn't go to a pub, but it were a bit. I mean, we started this. Would we have started this without Bielsa have been involved? I mean, maybe, because COVID would have happened regardless. But you know, so the fact that he had such a massive impact, and you are right, it were almost like he united a city. It wasn't just a club. It was the wider impact that he had as well, and so yeah. Steve Brown's made a comment about Wilko and him being the last English winner of the top flight, which in itself is incredible after such a long time. But you know, it shouldn't be underestimated the impact that he had, so. Yes, I'd also like Bielsa to be recognised, and I think that immortalised in a statue, I think is appropriate for him. I would like the things that we've talked about before, you know, the wave and potentially something on the East Stand for the Revy team, especially, you know, at this point where they've lost so many already. Recognise them while there's still some there to be recognised and to be involved in the unveiling of that. So yeah, I think there's still work for the club to do. But hopefully this is the first big step on it, and it's definitely well overdue.
I think a good spot for the whole the team waving one would be just on top of the East Stand above the reception, you know, just on the roof there. Just have them up there. It doesn't even have to be lookalike or, you know, image related. It could just be a giant piece of
just a silhouette,
bronze and a silhouette. Yeah, essentially a silhouette of them, and everyone knows what that represents. Everyone knows the picture. And if you don't, go and look at it. But everyone knows it, and that even something as simple as that would suffice for honouring the players that the club. You know, let's be honest, they're the ones that made us famous and feared worldwide. Like. So, you know, I think it's only right. We've run out of stands now, so get the finger at Leeds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just moving us on somewhat because of recognising the time. We've mentioned the stands there, and that kind of gives us a lovely little move into the next point, which is the stadium update. I don't know if you've seen this, but I'll just read out a little bit of the update. Leeds United Football Club's planning to make a further investment of more than £200 million into the first phase of construction of a redeveloped Elland Road Stadium. This will represent a huge private sector commitment to Leeds, supporting jobs, growth and the long-term future of the club and its community. The club is working closely with the council, mayor and all stakeholders on planning and light rail to deliver this transformative investment on schedule for Leeds, for Yorkshire and for the future of Elland Road. A recent City Plans panel, it was revealed that while Leeds have made progress since their planning application was submitted, travel and traffic measures remain a significant outstanding issue in need of resolution. David Blackburn, Farnley and Wortley Green Party councillor, said he supported expansion. He told the meeting, but in saying that, the devil is going to be in the detail of highways. I think it stands or falls on that. Leeds hope to get a decision in favour of their application this month. So there's still work to do in terms of the actual bid and the work around the stadium, but it sounds like the actual work on the stadium and the planning that have been set out. I don't know how much you've seen of that. Seems like that's agreed and in place if they get the rest of it sorted. I think the first phase would take us to a 53,000-seater stadium, which is the first time. I think it was 2018 I joined the waiting list, but I'm not going to get a season ticket before that happens.
You'll be looking to get one after it happens by the sounds of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, it's well needed, isn't it? You know, we love the old girl, but she's a bit tired these days, even though the pie's gone.
Yeah, she's a bit knackered, like, but yeah, I think that's why, like, you hear fans of away teams coming to Ellen Road now, even now, and just saying, you know, it's a proper old English stadium, even though they fucking hate us, you know. Like, I was watching a few of the West Ham match day vlogs, and granted, they're like, it's a shithole, like, but this is what an English stadium, you know, felt like back in the day. It didn't feel soulless or whatever, and I just hope we don't lose that when we do get our shiny new things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they did say on the initials that in the initial plans that they you know they'd hired somebody to look at the acoustics and making sure that the sound was still going to carry and it was going to be that it was going to be useful and it's not going to lose that soul.
But they've changed the architecture apparently now. Like, they're not the same guys that designed it originally. Like, so apparently they've changed architecture.
I didn't know that.
It was in a video Ger Lynch did a while back. I'd watched it before Ger did the video, but it's towards the end of it where they say that they've changed the architecture or something along them lines. And
well, hopefully they kept the acoustic specialist on.
Fingers crossed, yeah, that'll be handy, all right. But anyway, there you go.
Okay, no, good stuff. It's needed. However it transpires, it's been needed for a good long while now. So it's good that it's in the making. And the point you made earlier in the pod, Luke, the game revolves around money. You can't play without it. You can't build a side without the income. So the fact that they'll be able to maximise the income, it'll be more of a draw for non-football related activities, you know, gigs and whatever else. But put us on the map for major tournaments and things like that as well. You know, it's needed, isn't it? We need to get there, so it is important.
Be the 7th biggest stadium in the UK once it's completed. Like, so, if you're looking at 7 stadiums for a World Cup, it's definitely going to be in the picture in the frame. Like, so, yeah, good. Okay, so a couple of news items, but then just an opinion piece now. We kind of touched on it before, but just before we get into the Forest game, Luke, I'm going to ask you the question. We've got Forest coming up, then we've got Villa. Is Farke in danger right now, or has he done enough to this point?
For me, no. I don't think he's in any danger. Has he done enough? Absolutely. And I'm going to go back to the point I made about performances. Now, I know I'm treading on eggshells there because we've only got to look back to Jesse Marsh where the metrics were good and the performances looked all right and they were improving and we didn't improve as a team. And unfortunately, it's a performance-based business. But I think he's probably doing enough now, and he certainly is for me. I'm certainly not quite far out. I'm not even close to being far out. I think we've had 3 really poor performances this season. One being Sheff Wednesday, one being Arsenal wasn't that bad. The scoreline says differently, but it wasn't that bad. And then Brighton this week. So I think 3 bad performances out of is it 11 games including that cup game? I don't think it's too bad.
12 including the cup, I think. Is it 11 league games we've had?
No, played 10. We're on 11 points.
Played 10, 11 points. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you are right.
But we did play somebody else earlier on in the cup, didn't we?
No, Wednesday were our first game.
Part of my mind.
I don't know. Anyway, I think based
I've forgotten that result all together.
Yeah, based on the level that we're playing at and the tools that he's had, and you've got to look. I know we have got a full squad. I had a full squad back. I don't think he's in danger. I think this week will be very important for him, though. You know, we've got to be beating the teams around us, and we failed to do that away at Burnley. We beat West Ham, we beat Wolverhampton. I think we need to be not losing to Notts Forest this weekend, and I think we'll be all right. I think we've got a very, very tough period coming up. I don't think we can find many who will get a similar tune out of this playing squad. Certainly one who wants to come to us and look at the position we're in the league and say, right, actually, I see that as a good project, because actually, are we an attractive prospect or a project for any manager at the moment? So no, for me, I don't. I think it's very easy to blame the manager, and I certainly, because I've not seen the game this weekend, but based on most accounts, feedback seems to be that there was a lot wrong with this weekend, and it wasn't necessarily individual performances, given they scored 3 very similar goals. So yeah, I think for me, long and short is no, I don't think he should be in trouble. Is he? I don't think the 49ers are in a position to start. They probably are looking around, but I don't think that they're in any position to attract somebody who gets a finer tune out of this playing squad at the moment. So
fair, yeah, absolutely fair. I think, to my mind, if they're not already looking, they're not doing the job right. Because to me, they should be always looking. Because what if a manager walks? You need to be ready for that eventuality, don't you? So I think they should always be looking anyway. But Karl, anything to add to that?
No, I think Luke's right. I think he's done enough to not be in trouble at the moment. I think there's, I think if you said to any of our fans after 10 games, would you be happy with 11 points and be 4 clear of the drop zone? They'd have taken your hand off for that, I think, at the end of the day.
So any promoted side, the first thing they're going to look at is beating that lowest points tally, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know that might seem like it's really negative, but actually, the lowest points tally is the thing that no club wants. So let's get there and then look at the rest of the season. And we've done it by November.
Yeah. So I think if you're saying Farke is in trouble already, then any manager that comes in is going to be under serious scrutiny. And you can't, I think Farke has got obviously credit in the bank, 90 points, then 100 points, promoted. He's already on 11 points this season. I think it'd be very knee-jerk at the moment. I think over the next, bar Forest and Villa, I think the 4 games after that, they're not free hits for him, but whatever he gets out of them, everyone will be happy with, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford is one. I mean, I know Keith Andrews is doing much better than any of us want him to. And they are playing pretty well, and they're getting some good results. And we don't go to London and get much. We know that, don't we? But but yeah, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. That's a tough run of fixtures to have all together in the run up to Christmas, isn't it? So I think you're right. I think he has to get something for the next couple of games. I genuinely think that prior to that, it's Man City in the first of those 3 that we talked about. Prior to that, I think he might be in trouble if he doesn't get anything for the next couple of games. I think he is in trouble, because they'll then be looking at that fixture list and thinking, now we're on 11 points and now we're near the end of November, instead of running into November with a really tricky fixture list. And so I think the term knee-jerk at this point, I think, fits right. And they don't strike me as that. If anything, as owners, I think they're a bit slow rather than too fast to act. So yeah, but it'll be interesting to see. Let's all just hope we get something from the next couple of games, and then it'll be a moot point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. I need to move us on because we've got 3 things still to do. The first of which is for me, it's over in that corner above Karl. But I think exactly where Karl's pointing. That is the back 4 logo, and that back 4 logo links us nicely to something along the lines of... Have you ever wanted to wear your questionable football opinions? Now you can. OKB has teamed up with Back 4 to make some merch. Start small with an embroidered patch. Stick it anywhere. No, not there. Then there's t-shirts. Multiple designs, colours, sizes, all guaranteed to make your mate say, "You paid money for that." Mugs. No, not Jay and Karl. Actual mugs. For your brew. For your tears. For both. Hoodies. Same deal. Multiple designs, colours, sizes. Ideal for pretending you're fine after getting battered off an ESL team. And snapbacks, because nothing says midlife crisis like flat-brimmed confidence. Or no better merch. Available now at the Back 4 shop. Go on, treat yourself. Or don't. You'll undergrade it later. So I did make one of those videos that was slightly, ever so slightly different to that, and shared it in the group. It was a little bit more cutting towards those that wear snapbacks. We decided that we weren't going to publicise that, but I was ready to turn the video off just in case it went the wrong way.
I was sitting there. I was like, please be the right one. Please be the right one.
No, we've got some merch. I had my hoodie on earlier, but I've taken it off for the pod, which is stupid, isn't it? But it's decent stuff. I really like mine, and I've worn it quite a bit. So the links and that video will be shared again on our socials. It has gone out already, but we'll share it again and make sure that you can get some access to it. And there is some more stuff coming, so watch this space. Right, okay. It's time we get on to the next game. So, Luke, I think when we spoke, I can't remember who we were on with. It might have been Karl, might have been Jay, might have been Smarty. One of them. We spoke about how different it would feel if we got past the West Ham game having won it, because we were coming off a defeat and we were like, "Oh, we feel right down." But you know what? If we beat West Ham, then we'll feel better about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to speak to anybody in between, so we felt good about it after West Ham. But then afterwards, we got beaten by Brighton, so we're all feeling a little bit down again. It'll be all change again, won't it? If we get a result out of the next couple of games. So, bearing in mind the way that the season has gone so far, we are away from home, but it is a Sunday afternoon. And we seem to be getting our squad back. So I think pretty much everybody was available. I mean, not necessarily fully fit, fully running out stuff. Dan James had been out for a while. Okafor still not quite at it for the full 90. Biol's only just coming to the side. Perry the same. So there's players still playing their way back into it, but we've got a squad back. That surely that's a big deal, especially with a full week's run at training throughout the course of it into that game. Luke, how are you feeling about the upcoming game?
Yeah, it's one of them. I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, you mentioned about Sean Dyche, and they're not going to be the team that's been rolling over week in, week out. I don't expect us to win. I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to be a very tough fixture. But I think we come out of that without losing is more important, because them picking up 3 points on us is probably more important than don't pick up 3 points and end up however many points behind us. What are they on? 6? So they'll be 2 points behind us if they win. Whereas if we draw, we can keep that gap at 5. I think that's what we've got to be looking at now, especially as we didn't manage to get anything from Burnley and they got their tails up. So it's a not lose really for me rather than a must win. It would be lovely to win. I just don't think we've got the even with a fully fit squad, I don't think we've got the players to be winning that many away from home this season. Look, I know we did it at Wolves, but I don't see who else we're going to be beating away from home. I thought Burnley, but again we struggled there. So for me, it's a not lose rather than a must win. But they've got a fantastic playing squad. Do you know what I mean? You look at the squad; they're playing in the Champions League this year.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's incredible. And have sacked the gaffer that got him there. That's also incredible. I think you are right about Dyche. And so I think the fact that we are away from home, there is an expectation difference. And I think if you can go away from home and get a draw, then that'll be viewed as positive at this level.
Sorry, the Europa League, not the Champions League. I've had a right.
In Europe. No.
Playing in Europe.
Yeah, they are in Europe. But but going away to a side, even a side that's not playing in Europe, but is coming off the back of a good season last season either way. Going away and getting a draw there, that'd be viewed as a really positive point, I think, wouldn't it? Luke?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll come to you
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I got a bit of lag there. Yeah, no, I think we've got to be going there with they've got built a team to play in Europe. And we've built a team to stay in the Premier League. There's levels, and there is. And if Dyche can get even 75% of a tune out of that playing squad, then they should be beating us at home. Irrespective, they should be beating us. I just want to see some I want to see a good performance based on what I've heard from last weekend. It will be a good opportunity for Farke to silence some doubters as well. I think if we can go there and play well and come away with at least a point, I think people have to raise their eyebrows a little bit and say, you know what, actually, going to a team that's playing in the Europa League, going to a team that have built a team capable of playing in Europe and being competitive, and then playing them away from them. Look, then their confidence isn't going to be sky high at the moment. They drew with Scum at the weekend.
And he will get
them 2-0 down.
He absolutely will get him up for it.
They were 2-0 down, so we'll get him up for it. And I think one of the saving graces we got with a Dyche team is that not many officials seem to like Sean Dyche that much. If you watch their games, they do seem to on the back end have a lot of funny decisions at Sean Dyche's side. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. They've got quite a few injuries as well. I think that Chris Wood's obviously out. I think they've got Douglas Luiz is doubtful. They've got one or two other injuries. Backward, I think, as well. They signed who's injured. So, but they've still got a massive squad and a massive good squad in comparison to what we have to our avail. So, yeah, it's important, probably more important not to lose that game.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, fully agreed. Karl, we say regularly on this pod that you don't change a winning team, but we're coming off a defeat. Do you expect any major changes?
I do and I don't. You could probably look at
that's insightful.
You could probably look at that whole 11 from Saturday and pick it apart and go, right, you could do the rest. You just didn't perform. Come on out. We've got this player back now and we're going to bring him in or whatever, But any changes I think he'll probably make won't. I don't think he will make any changes because he had Okafor on one wing and he had Aronson on the other.
Calvert-Lewin is showing as injured on a lot of the apps.
Is he? Well, that's the match straight in there.
He could be out with an adductor.
Right. Okay. So that's an enforced change rather than a tactical change, I think. But yeah, you're probably putting Nemec up front there to try and do a job against their back line, bully them a bit. I'll be honest, I'd like to see maybe Pirro get about 15 minutes towards the end if the game is kind of back and forth and we're more on the ground with our play than a target man up front type scenario. Like we tried playing ball against Arsenal and it didn't work, and then when it went up to bleeding Pirro, he couldn't hold it up. So I think if we try and play ball against Nottingham Forest, I think we have a better chance if the likes of Douglas Luiz are out and if Chris Wood is out and not going to be a battering ram for them, really. But Nemec is probably going to be the only change. I think he might look at either. I thought Aronson was pretty poor on Saturday. I know you'll agree, Gilly. But I think
so with the rest of them, he didn't stick out for the only one being poor. I mean, he was particularly poor. But I thought Bogle was really poor actually compared to the level he's been playing at. I just think it's just bad day at the office and move on from that. But it's just because we so regularly say don't change your winning team. But the alternative is we're getting minutes into players that are coming back, and we've made enforced changes, especially if DCL's not available. That'll be another enforced change. It's got to be a balance, hasn't there?
There has, I think, yeah. But I think we've seen from James Justin coming in now that there is a fullback there that's capable of playing on both sides. I'm not sure he's a starter now by any means because I think maybe Brighton on Saturday was an odd game for Bogle to play as poor as he did, and I'm just wondering, is that down to perhaps Aronson having quite a bad game ahead of him and he wasn't able to exploit any space out wide particularly well because Aronson wasn't playing well and he had to cover a lot. I think if you bring Willie in, perhaps it gives Bogle more opportunity to
I'm not. I'm not sure how much it was that. You know, I thought that it's not Kirkioglu, is it? I can't remember the name of the fullback. He had a really good game. And obviously Gomez got a couple, but Ayari were pulling out onto that left as well. And I think Bogle was a bit isolated because there were three out there. Arrington's picking up one, Bogle's got another, there's still another one free. And I think that aspect, you know, there's some people calling for Ampadu to be rested. I think he's so important for us as that linchpin and the shithouse and is the captain that it's unlikely he'll be rested. But I did agree with Stack coming out of the side for similar reasons. So I could see if that was. But I think if there's one or two enforced changes, I think the manager can be forgiven for trying to keep other things relatively stable. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like you want to make changes and you want to bring in players that are coming back, but then at the same time, like you said, what do you do? Like, we could sit here and talk about this all week, and then he might make a million changes that we didn't even talk about, and then he might even. What's Marty saying there? A lady has been poor too and doesn't get enough scrutiny for it. Who?
Ampadu, I think he's on about.
Oh, yeah, as he said,
Ampadu
correct Ampadu for a lady. That really threw me for a second. I won't get that. Although I had already mentioned it before he put that into the chat. So, there had been a few rumblings about Ampadu's performances. But he is so important for us.
He is.
But you know that'll come down to. I personally think that especially if there's any others, but if DCL's unavailable and he needs to make a change there, I suspect we won't see any other changes. Luke, would you go differently on that?
No, I said last week or the week before when I was last on that I would like to see one of the midfield three dropped and Piru played closer to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now he's out. I'm not sure you're going to get the same from Mecha. So I think for me, it's just the one up top. I think it's more like for like is Mecha for Calvert-Lewin than Piru is for Calvert-Lewin. Mecha's a bit more physical. They'll go up for headers. He'll run the channels a bit. Piru doesn't like running all that much. He's quite stagnant and stationary. But we know if he gets a chance most times in the box, then he's gonna hit the target in it. Which is why I would like to have seen him playing off Calvert-Lewin, because the work Calvert-Lewin does go unnoticed. Yeah, he's not scoring many goals, but he is our focal point in attack, and he does a lot of layoffs. He does, you know, he does a lot of the other stuff well, other than scoring. So, it'll be interesting. I think it will be a like for like swap in Mecha coming in for Calvert-Lewin though. And then who knows?
That's the most obvious one, isn't
it?
Yeah, fair. Okay, so Luke, I think you said that you would. No, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Did you say that you'd take a draw, or did you say that you expected it to be a draw?
I think I said I'd take a draw. I expect us to lose.
Okay. Fair. Karl?
I'd take a draw, but you never know. We might win. I'd take a draw, though. I'll try to keep some form of positivity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just think that the way that Daesh gets sides up for it, and you know, at their place, there's going to be some players that are hungry there that really want to show a new gaffer what they're all about. The Ange experiment failed miserably. But they're going to want to prove themselves out there. So, you know, and I think under Deister will have that opportunity, and I do think that he'll steady the ship, if not be exciting in the way that Nuno had him playing last season. I don't think Deister is that man, but he's a man that'll make them difficult to beat. He'll have them well drilled, and are they playing midweek this week? Because European fixtures are back on, aren't they?
Playing Thursday.
Thursday, and then play us Sunday.
So that's why it's Sunday rather than just being Sky. It's because they're in Europe.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's an aspect there, you know. we were actually told by the commentary for the Brighton game that Brighton had loads of injuries and they've been travelling around all over, and Leeds had a full squad, and therefore actually you expect Leeds to be at it and Brighton are going to be off the pace, so they're going to have to watch out for Leeds. And actually it was completely the opposite that was the case. So I think in that context and in those terms, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say that we're going to be fresher on the principle that everybody expected that against Brighton, and it didn't work out that way at all. So, but yeah. So I really am hoping that we pick up points in both our next games, whether that's 1 point against Forest, 3 points against Villa, whatever it needs to be. We really, really need to get some points because of those fixtures that are upcoming beyond that we've talked about already. So, to my mind, maybe it's more hope than expectation. I'm hoping for at least a draw at Forest, just because otherwise it's gonna get toxic, isn't it?
Yeah. Can I just ask you, lads, has your enthusiasm at the start of the season dwindled a bit with the few results recently?
No, I don't think it has. I mean, I'm a bigger happy clapper than probably most, and I'm also a realist though, Carl. I'll be honest with you. I knew this season was going to be tough. I just set myself up for it. I didn't have this, this vivid imagination that we'd be pushing Europe or anything like that. I might have said it jokingly in some way, shape, or form, in some context, but I knew this season was going to be tough, and I think the results of course they overshadow the performances because it's more important to get a result. I'd rather be winning 2-0 and playing shit than losing 2-0 and playing well. But the performances have been there for me in the majority. So that's why I'm not overly concerned. I'm still optimistic, but I'm not unrealistic. I'm not, we're going to a team, and I'm just looking at what their particular lineup is for against us at the weekend. I don't see one of our players that replaces any of their starting 11. I'll be honest with you. I don't see one of our starting 11 that replaces any of their starting 11, man for man.
Yeah,
and that's incredible, isn't it?
It's a bit of a mad one, all right, Joe.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't expect many changes, just enforced changes, I think is what we're saying in terms of the upcoming game. I think potentially for me, I think we would see changes if there were no enforced changes. Whether that would be Stark coming back in, whether that would be Dan James starting. I think if you have to change DCL, I think he'll go out of his way to try to not upset anywhere else on the pitch and won't make any other changes elsewhere. Certainly don't think anybody else in terms of so Goodmanson and Bogle pretty much pick themselves for every game they're available for. Biol and Rodon are first choice. Perry's first choice. So I think elsewhere we will stay static anyway, regardless. So yeah, fair. Okay, I'm just going to spin through some comments and then we'll come to the regular closeout. So
don't forget,
Steve Brown.
Don't forget, we've got some else before we go. Yeah,
absolutely. Steve Brown, this is a message for you, Luke. Remember to sing the Sky Sports song. I think you won't be invited back if you do, but
yeah, I'll probably give that one a swerve, I reckon.
Yeah.
I have said to all of the other finalists that if they get on Sky, I'll give them £1 for every different cheese they can name while they're on air. So if you want,
I'll probably give that one a swerve too.
Why would you do that? That's an easy one.
I'd just love to know you expect me to get the word camembert into a conversation.
Just go camembert for a second. I need to have a word with you.
Yogis, Norbies.
Moving on.
Yogi's got cheesy. Carmen.
Sly 2.0 says say Fark out. I think he's asking you to say that on Sky, but given that you're not a Fark out, then that's probably not going to happen either. Steve Brown says we are so far away from home. We've only scored at Wolves, lost all. I think we popped that up while we were discussing, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we'd already started that one. But he also says need to stop playing out from the back as well. Go long and play off DCL Nemecha. I think the DCL point that you were making is a really important one because he is so good in the air. He wins almost everything he goes up for. There are times he misreads it and he doesn't go and challenge for it. But actually, we got used to seeing that in the season of Pirro, where he wouldn't even jump for anything. So it's night and day moving to DCL, isn't it? But if he is available and plays, do we think potentially there's a role? I mean, being away from home maybe means that there isn't a role for him. But do we think there's a role for Pirro? I'll come to you, Luke, because you were the one that mentioned it most recently. If DCL's playing, is there a role for Pirro to be in and around him from the start? Could we carry that without getting overrun in midfield?
I think so. Well, I think we should certainly be trying to capitalise on it. I think there's going to be very few games where we're actually going to be the team that's, we've seen it a few times this season where we have been the better team and we've had the momentum to be able to do that. But actually, am I contradicting myself? Because would we have the momentum if we didn't have those three central midfielders? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. So yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'd just like to see us try it if we need a goal or if we're one behind, rather than making the obvious changes. Maybe just try it. Like if the game at the weekend might have been a great opportunity to try it. But I appreciate Calvert-Lewin went off injured, so I'd just like to see how and if it works.
Yeah, fair. Karl, one for you. Danny Talks Leeds said, Forest play 4-2-3-1. Do you think you might try matching up after changing to that formation in the last game?
No, I don't. I think he sticks with his 4-3-3, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I don't like. He's a stickler for not changing when it needs to be changed, and this is probably one of them times where you could do it, maybe changing things up a bit, but more player-wise rather than total formation. Because I think if you're changing formation, then you're changing the style, the style of players in their positions, and how we play as a unit completely from one formation to the other. So I think away from home, that's probably the dodgiest thing to do. If you're going to do that, you potentially do that at home where you've got the crowd at your back, and it's probably more of a smoother transition to do it at home than it is away from home, if I'm honest.
So you think maybe the three midfield this time, one of maybe Stack or Tanaka, and then Longstaff and Ampadu, but then against Villa maybe we'll see Pirro, or at least you'd be more in favour of making
a formation change. Yeah, rather than a total change of personnel altogether. Like,
just go 4-4-2 and get two up front.
Get fucking two big bastards up top, battering everyone.
Right, okay. Paul Brennan says we need to get something against Forest. Daniel Farker's going to have to work out his tactics, formations, and rotate the squad. I think that's consistent with what we're saying, isn't it? Yeah. So absolutely right there, Paul. Skip says, although we're only 10 games in, do you think some players are looking a bit tired? Maybe the international breaks are taking their toll. Luke, any views?
Potentially. We do have a lot of internationals now.
It's one of the pitfalls of success, isn't it?
But again, it's the job. Like, if they can't be fit enough to get through and starting feeling tired at this stage of the season, look, Daniel Farker's not notorious. He is notorious for not changing things up and sticking with the same squad and whatever else. But they should be capable of playing 90 minutes a week, or even 180 minutes, or whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having that. They're tired. Like, I don't really wash with me at professional football level.
You have one job.
Fair enough if it was Karl or I and we were asked to go play 180 minutes a week. We might look a bit leggy after a few weeks, do you know what I mean? But these guys are professional footballers. They've got all the right people, the data analysts that are analysing how many
nutritionists,
how far they're running. There's no, I don't know. I think they might be a bit tired, they might be a bit leggy, but I think it's a bit of a weak excuse if a footballer's saying they're leggy nowadays with the job they've got.
Yeah, fair. Karl, Dr. Cox says, Farker's sleeping in my eyes. No win Sunday, I think, is sat during the international break. No win Sunday, I think, is a bit of a stretch, isn't it? If you get a draw there and then you're going into that period, surely that's positive enough.
I think so. I think it's something to positively build on when they come back from the break. And I think it also gives Fark a chance to work with players that haven't been fully involved in the squad, either by injury or something else. You've got the likes of Nanto and James coming back, so it's a good opportunity for them to get more fitness into their legs, all of that kind of thing. I think a draw on Sunday, I don't think that jeopardizes Fark's position at the club. I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Steve Brown then says we need 7 points between now and Sunderland at end of December to be on 18 points after 18 games. Yeah, it's going to be tough. We'll have to see, but there are winnable games in there. There are games that you would hope to go in looking to get something. Brentford away is not easy for us because it's in London and we struggle. Forest away is not easy. They are a European team. But, we're looking at those sides and thinking we need to get something against them. And our home form needs to be right up there in order to be able to carry us through. So, we've got a few home games in there, albeit against very, very good teams. And one of them could be an hiding. But if you take an hiding against Man City and you get a draw against Chelsea and a draw against Liverpool, probably take that.
Yeah, I think it was very telling there a couple of weeks ago when bleeding Sloth came out and basically said that their defence doesn't like high balls being played into them. I thought that's the kind of thing you tell the nation after a game where your team have lost because high balls have been going in against your two centre backs, and maybe it's something that we can probably exploit.
That should be meat and drink to any centre back, especially in the top flight. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't like that. That's the wrong thing to be saying. You're not filling your centre backs full of confidence, really. Look, if it's a case that we can lump the ball up all day long, play Sunday League football, and come away with a win against Liverpool for Christmas, then hammer it up there and make Van Dijk use his head rather than his feet. Go for it.
Absolutely, yeah, big time. Okay. Yeah. Danny Talks Leeds says, whoever we bring in starts to work with players that can't hit a barn door. We've all seen it. We are a bit goal shy at the moment, and I think that's a truism. So yeah, fair talk there to Danny. Luke, I'm going to hand over the reins of the remaining comments to you. There's only 3 left that are starred in there. They're all from one person, and I think you wanted to pick that up.
Yes. The first one, I had no idea who started this, so I actually meant the 2.
Oh, sorry, that was me. But yeah, so I'll take that one if you want, and then you can take the others. Clive says, Dyche has been sinking up the lower end of the table for years, and all of a sudden it's going to be tough against the great Sean Dyche. I don't think anybody's saying he's great, but what he does do is set up teams to be really difficult to beat, and that's something that we're struggling with at the moment. But he's also got a glittering array of talent in that side. They absolutely showed up some teams last season, and the personnel has not changed that much. So although they've had a rocky period through their owner and changes at a managerial level and so on, and that's really caused, any owner that's openly against the manager that they've got is going to cause issues at a club. It's going to destabilise the club and whatever else. And I think he will stabilise it, and he will make them difficult to beat. So I don't think anybody's lauding him as the great Lord and Saviour, Sean Dyche, but it'll just make him difficult to beat, and that's absolutely not what we needed just as we were coming up to play him.
Yeah. Do you think it's the best squad of players Sean Dyche has ever had at Forest?
Absolutely.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I mean, Everton had some really good players, didn't they?
Yeah.
But overall, the squad I think wasn't quite there. We had some really talented individuals, but yeah, as a squad, probably is the best he's had.
Yeah, I think so.
Certainly better than anything he had at Burnley.
Absolutely, absolutely. He worked. Let's be honest, he worked miracles at Burnley, keeping them up that long.
Yeah, yeah,
so.
He did. Yeah, right. Okay, Luke, over to you for the last 2.
Yeah, no problem. So the first one is that Fark doesn't adapt like Bielsa did. Now, and then he followed it up with Bielsa had a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I love Bielsa. Absolutely not a bad word to say about him. But that is straight up lies. completely. His own ethos, his plan B is to do plan A better.
Yes.
And to say that that Bielsa adapted a lot. The only adaptation Bielsa used to make, which it's very easy to forget, but he used to make the same changes week, and it'd be Dan James on up front, and it'd be Tyler Roberts in at number 10. And he used to make those changes on the 60th, 65th minute every week, irrespective of what the score was. Those changes were made. So to say that he was Bielsa is the king of not adapting. He's the king of playing a particular style. So you just so the reason I brought those up is not to diss Bielsa in any way. It's just to tell you, Clive, that you're lying to yourself and to everybody else in here, simply because he didn't have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G at all. He didn't even have a plan B. He had a plan A and a half because it was just to do that better. And they're his own words.
Yeah.
The other thing as well we have to remember is that Bielsa was very much hampered by the lack of financial support in his second season as well. So making those changes that Luke said he made is spot on, but that's because his hands were tied. He didn't have the resources to be able to do what he wanted to do. You know, he had Archie Gray on the bench at 15 for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Down at Tottenham.
Clive also said earlier on in the chat, and I didn't bring this one up, that the Arsenal performance was the worst he's seen in 35 years. Now, I'm sure he must have been in a coma for 30 of those years because there was some real stinkers. He must forget about Histon and the likes of those sort of
Spurs games that last Spurs game we had at the end of the season, last time in the Premier. It just the Villa game at home. But it 3-0, but we were just
Wigan game.
Yeah, Wigan 1-0 up against 10 men and lost. Derby in playoffs. Yeah, so there's been some real abject stuff, but no, absolutely right. Bielsa never ever had anything beyond a plan A other than to make plan A better, and that was his intent. He was open about that, really transparent about that. So yeah, I recognise that there is definitely rose-tinted glasses to be had, and do you know what? Anybody that feels positively about Bielsa, I fully get it. I 100% fully get it because I love him still. He's the best man in football that there's ever been.
Absolutely.
Maybe Sir Bobby, but he's right up there. So I love that somebody will defend him to the hilt. But let's do it on what he actually did, and not what we say he did, even if he didn't.
Yeah, let's not spread any misinformation. I mean, the guy said it with his own mouth that he didn't have a plan B and that he wouldn't change the way that he would play. But Clive seems to think, watching Bielsa for 3 years, he knows more than Marcelo by the sound of it.
It was like it's like that scene in Rush Hour where he's like, "Do you not understand the words coming out of my mouth?"
Out of my mouth.
Bielsa literally said it.
Right, okay. We've been on for far too long, and there's just a couple of bits to close out. Is there anything that you want to mention before we move into the last bit?
No.
Right. Okay,
Poll results.
Yeah, poll results. Yeah, I said not to let me forget. You didn't let me forget. Thank you.
Right. So shit take of the week.
On the doors, George Dawes.
Shit take of the week. In final place, we had fake Nuno news. So the fake Nuno article was last place. We had a draw in second, third, whatever you want to call it. Happy reunion for Bielsa and Junior, and read the question before answering. And the winner this week is that Longstaff is shite.
What percentage of the vote?
42%. So quite a healthy.
That's bad. Thanks for getting involved in that, folks.
Oh, Karl, don't talk through a yawn at this point. Jesus.
I tried not to.
We've a quick video, and then with a quick readout, and then we'll be done. You'll be glad to know.
So my journey with AMC started because I lost my friends in 2024 in March. I didn't really know how to deal with it. Turned to drink. That didn't help at all. And I thought, let me just try this. I never really thought of group therapy or counseling, anything like that. I didn't think it was for me. Went there, had a great time. Managed just to be around people who had similar experiences. It was nice to be around. that. So I kept going, just kept going back, just to be heard, basically, and appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much to Jay for putting that together just before we came live. I'd not had an opportunity to watch it, so thanks very much to Jay. The really important messages, they're really powerful as well, because the genuine stories of people that have been in a really dark place and then they've been able to go along there and been able to come through that journey, and I think the readout that I'll move on to now just says it. If you're going through a storm or have recently been through one and you're a man over 18, perhaps Andy's Man Club Leeds may be able to help you. With venues in Horsforth, Kirkstall, Pudsey, Central Leeds, Hunslet, Seacroft and Morley, open 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Monday bar and bank holidays. They also run weekly and monthly social events with the aim to get men talking and to smash the stigma around men's mental health. Details of the venues and everything they're doing is at Andy's Man Club Leeds Facebook, so give them a follow and help spread the word. It's really important, talk to each other, get in our chats. The social media can be awful, but social media can be brilliant. As we saw with the message, with the fans that had travelled internationally just to come over and experience Ellen Road and what have you. I think it's really important that we recognise that. And I love being able to share those messages. And one thing that we do, I don't know if everybody's picked up on it, but we clip it afterwards and we share it back to Andy's Man Club for them to put on their Facebook. So you'll see the videos on there as well. So just go along. If you're struggling, go along, see what's what. You don't have to get involved right from the outset, but it is important to talk, and it's important to recognise that it's okay to not be okay. Absolutely. And on that note, we will finish right there. I'll give you just a few seconds to mention anything else that we've forgotten about, just as we exit this.
Well, if we've forgotten about it.
Nothing from me.
We ain't remembering now.
Jay did say that he'd made a slight tweak to the outro video, so I'm going to play it and we're going to see what it is. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved in the chat. Thank you to Luke. Thank you to Karl for joining me. And yeah, you'll see us here again after the Forest game.
It's all the know better. We all the know much better than letting Karl go on with Jay. Luke's calling out bad weathers, and Smarty is no better, and Gilly gets fan mail again. But every time we go live,
shit take has been
can't speak or even tell the time.
It's Moratoy's out the pram.
It's all the
if I see his mother in
we
the
all know
stands,
much better.
I'm
this
gonna
is
crack an
show for tonight. And if you like these weapons and you don't think they're balanced, please go check out our merch site. Good night.
Little tosser, and I hate him. He's shit. He's average, and he's a shit house.